Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I'm Rowan, 38, the kind of man who never learned how to make a dramatic entrance. I walk quietly, speak softly, and try to keep life simple. My wife, Maribel, was the opposite: warm, loud, affectionate, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and rearrange its energy without trying. Or at least that's who she used to be. Somewhere along the way, the warmth in her voice had cooled, and her laughter at home came out thinner, like she was saving the real version for someone else. I noticed it, but I kept telling myself it was just stress, or exhaustion, or something temporary we'd eventually talk through. Marriage is supposed to be two people choosing each other again and again, even when it's hard. I was choosing. I thought she was too. The night everything shifted was Nolan's birthday party. He's been my friend since college, the kind of guy who has stood by me through every high and low. He insisted we come, saying it would be good for us. Get out, breathe, be around people again. I agreed. Maybe a night out would reset things. The venue was a cozy rooftop bar in the city, string lights glowing overhead, music humming beneath the chatter of small groups. People hugged, laughed, clinked glasses. I'm not a party person, but that night, I walked in with a quiet hope that Maribel and I might reconnect. I spotted her across the room first, standing with Cassie and a few others, smiling brightly, the kind of smile I hadn't seen directed at me in months. It made my chest tighten. I walked over, not wanting to interrupt, just wanting to greet her in the simplest, softest way. I opened my arms slightly, leaning forward for a hug. What happened next felt like being slapped without a hand ever touching me. She jerked back sharply, eyes widening, voice rising louder than the music for everyone around to hear. Rowan, not here. God, can you not smother me for once? The conversation around us froze. Heads turned. A couple on the balcony went silent. Even the bartender paused mid-pour. I stopped where I was, arms falling to my sides. The embarrassment hit first, hot, immediate, humiliating. But right beneath it, something colder settled in my stomach. Something I'd been trying not to acknowledge. Maribel's face wasn't embarrassed, or surprised, or apologetic. It was annoyed, bothered, irritated that I had tried to show affection in public, like I was some stranger crossing her boundaries. I took a step back. I was just saying hello. She rolled her eyes and turned back to her friends, forcing an awkward laugh. Sorry, guys. He's, Anyway, but whatever sentence she was trying to finish blurred out. I wasn't listening. I walked away quietly, pretending to go greet someone else, pretending it hadn't happened, pretending I hadn't just been reduced to a burden she swatted away in front of a room full of people. Nolan noticed immediately. He always does. He pulled me aside, lowering his voice. Hey, you good? You look like you just got hit by a truck. I'm fine, I lied. But I wasn't. I stayed at the party another hour, though I barely spoke. I watched her from a distance, watched the way she laughed freely with others but stiffened whenever our eyes met. And the more I watched, the more something inside me unraveled. Quietly, methodically, like a thread finally snapping after being pulled too tight for too long. On the drive home, she scrolled through her phone, not saying a word. I didn't ask her why she reacted the way she did. I didn't ask if she was upset about something else. I didn't try to fix it, not for lack of wanting, but because I suddenly realized I had been the only one trying for a long time. When we got home, she went straight to bed without looking at me. I sat in the living room for a long time, staring at the wall, thinking about who we used to be, thinking about who she had become, thinking about how I had slowly been fading inside our marriage without even noticing. By the time the sun started rising, creeping pale light across the carpet, the clarity hit me so cleanly it almost felt peaceful. If she felt humiliated by my affection, then she shouldn't be married to a man who loves her. That morning, before she even woke up, I made the decision. I wasn't going to beg for the scraps of her warmth anymore. I wasn't going to chase a version of her that no longer existed. If she didn't want my embrace in public, she wouldn't have my presence in private. And that was the beginning of the end. Maribel woke up around 9, stretching lazily before sitting up. I was still in the same chair where I'd spent most of the night, though I'd moved my phone, a folder, and a pen onto the coffee table. She noticed immediately. "You're up early," she said, her voice groggy. I nodded. "Couldn't sleep." She squinted at me, confused. Not concerned, just confused. Like she didn't understand why I existed outside of my usual routines. "You're being weird," she muttered, brushing her hair behind her ear. "Are you mad about last night?" There it was, the moment I could have said everything. The moment I could have laid out how much she hurt me in front of everyone. How her rejection stung deeper than she could possibly imagine. I could have told her how her coldness had seeped into our marriage quietly but relentlessly. But I didn't feel like explaining emotions she had stopped caring about a long time ago. "No," I said calmly. "I'm not mad." She blinked. "Then why are you sitting there like someone died?" I stood up slowly, picking up the folder. Her expression shifted, mild irritation turning into something sharper, something defensive. "What's that?" "My papers," I said simply. She looked at them like they were foreign objects. "Papers for what?" "For us." She stiffened, pulling her robe tighter around herself. "Rowan, what are you talking about?" I placed the folder on the table between us. "I'm done, Maribel." Her eyebrows shot up. "Done with what?" "The marriage." The words didn't come out angry. They came out steady, calm, almost gentle. And that, more than anything, seemed to unsettle her. She laughed. Too loudly, too nervously. "Rowan, stop. You're being dramatic." "Because of what? A misunderstanding at a party?" "It wasn't a misunderstanding," I replied. "It was clarity." She stared at me, searching my face for the part where I would crack, where I would back down, where I would behave like the man she had grown used to, the one who folded, softened, apologized even when he was the one hurting. But I didn't fold. Not this time. "You embarrassed me," I said quietly. But what mattered more was realizing you weren't embarrassed that you embarrassed me. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. "You haven't wanted my affection in months," I continued, not accusingly, just stating facts. "You haven't wanted my presence. You don't look at me like your husband anymore. Last night just made it obvious." Maribel pressed her palm against her forehead. "It was a party, Rowan. I got overwhelmed. I didn't want a big scene." "You created the scene," I said. "All I did was try to hug my wife." Her jaw tightened. "So you're throwing away our whole marriage over one moment?" "No," I said. "You threw it away one moment at a time. Last night is just when I finally noticed." For the first time, something like fear flickered in her eyes. "So what now? You want a separation? Time apart?" "I want an ending," I replied. "A clean one." Her voice wavered. "Rowan, please don't do this." I was stressed. I messed up. People mess up. I felt a small ache in my chest because I remembered the version of her I fell in love with. The bright, affectionate woman who used to cup my face in both hands like I was her favorite part of the world. But that version was gone, and I wasn't going to keep living with the ghost she left behind. "I'm not angry," I said softly. "I'm just done being unloved." She swallowed hard. "So that's it? After everything we've been through?" "Yes," I said, "because somewhere along the way you stopped choosing me. I just finally stopped ignoring it." Maribel sank onto the couch, staring at the floor, breathing unevenly. "I didn't think you'd ever leave," she whispered. "That was the problem," I replied. The silence that followed wasn't hostile. It wasn't loud or chaotic. It was the kind of silence that feels final, the kind that settles when truth arrives too late for fixing. A couple of hours later, I packed a small bag. Only essentials. Only what was mine. She stood in the doorway, arms wrapped around herself, eyes red but not crying. Maribel rarely cried. She looked at me like she wanted to say 100 things but couldn't find a single one. "Where will you go?" she murmured. "For now," I shrugged. "Probably Nolan's." She nodded slowly. "Do you hate me?" I paused. "No, I never did." "Then why are you leaving?" "Because love without respect isn't love," I said. "And last night, You made it clear how you see me. I walked past her gently, not touching her, not brushing against her shoulder, not giving her a hug she would lean away from. The morning air outside felt strangely warm on my face, almost like a welcome. When I reached the car, I took one last look at the house we'd shared, the life we'd built, the memories that still lived in the walls. And then I let go. Sometimes the quietest decisions are the ones that change everything. And this walking away from a woman who no longer saw my worth was the loudest silence I had ever chosen.